Hello everyone and welcome to another KeenGamer review. This time we have the MDrill One studio grade microphone from Thronmax. MDrill One follows the similar aesthetic of its lower-end model with sleek, modern and minimal design. Even though it's fairly large, it's surprisingly light due to the fact that its stand is made out of plastic instead of metal like in the MDrill Zero model. But don't worry, it's not one of those cheap plastics that will break with a simple stress test. This is a single piece of high quality material that is not easily scratched, leaves no fingerprints and still makes the whole microphone quite sturdy. Of course, the bottom is rubberized, so it will stand firmly in place wherever you decide to place it. After a slight curve, you have the two large pieces of plastic protruding upwards, where you find the screws with which you can tighten the microphone or remove them completely in order to place it on a different mount. Another stand design feature worth mentioning is the concentric circles just under the microphone. Not only do they give it a totally unique look, but they are somewhat reflective and help boost the brightness of the awesome looking circular LED light placed on the bottom of the microphone itself. This light can be cycled between 7 different colors, using the button that's also on the bottom, right next to the USB Type-C connector, a 3.5mm headphone jack and a hole used to mount the microphone on stands using threaded screws. Even without the LED light, the main body of the microphone is the true star of the show. Its face features a small control panel with a small screen and 2 buttons. The lower one controls the recording modes that are represented by an appropriate icon and a small LED indicator. The upper button is used to mute the microphone. The screen is there to indicate the microphone gain and headphone volume that you can adjust using the 2 knobs situated at its back. What's great, the MDrill One internally saves the last recording setting, so you don't have to worry about losing it when unplugged. The upper portion of the microphone, like in the MDrill Zero model, is dominated by Thronmax's own beautiful grill design called Vertigain, which allows the sound waves to move vertically through the mic instead of being scattered by the classic mesh found in other microphones. This allows the sound to pass through the grill more evenly and greatly boosts the sound quality. The MDrill One will ultimately be available in jet black, slate grey and carmine red. Each color has a matte coating, and while our review unit was black, the available options mean that you are sure to find a model that will fit right in, no matter the color of your PC or studio setup. When talking about the sound quality of recordings made by MDrill One, you'll be glad to find out that Thronmax didn't compromise in any regard. While this microphone, like MDrill Zero, lacks any sort of dedicated software, in all honesty, it doesn't need any. You can just plug it into any of the supported devices and be fully ready to go. As mentioned, the lower button on the face of the microphone allows you to switch between 4 options of how MDrill One will pick up sound. Recording modes include cardioid, stereo, bidirectional, and omnidirectional. Each one is best suited for a different purpose, and they all produce different results depending on the source of the sound and some settings. The first and the obvious one is the gain setting, which is used to adjust the strength of the input signal. I found that setting this somewhere in the middle works best, as higher settings try to boost your audio input to such a degree that it produces some distortion and faint static in the sound output. The second way you can influence the quality of the recording is where and how close the sound source is located compared to the microphone. In that regard, the MDrill One's cardioid and stereo recording options produce amazing and natural results, but only when the source of the sound is fairly close and directly in front of the microphone. That means it's best used for streaming, podcasts and voiceovers. The sound output is clear with no static whatsoever, and the internal microphone filter is more than enough to eliminate most unwanted self noises like pops and whistles. Problems do rear their ugly head when you lean back in your chair a fair distance away from the microphone, since low output levels will require you to speak up a bit. This can somewhat be mitigated by finding an appropriate combination of settings or using additional software. Bidirectional and omnidirectional options are best used when the sound is coming from multiple sources. This refers to all sorts of events, conference calls, interviews, and multiple instrument setups. While the bidirectional interview option works pretty well in all conditions, the omnidirectional produces mixed results for its intended purpose. The recordings done in this mode can still sound great, due to the lack of proximity effect, better channel separation, and less sensitivity to handling, wind, and pop noises, but this only applies when you move in really close. As soon as you move away from the microphone, the sound gets too quiet, featuring a fishbowl tank effect, while picking up all sorts of background noises. And here you have a small sample of the omnidirectional mode recording, with the sound source being approximately a meter away from the microphone. As far as the sound testing goes for other modes, this entire review has been recorded with MDrill One's cardioid mode, with stereo and bidirectional modes producing similar results, and this only being a small unedited sample with no music. Overall, MDrill One is truly a bold step into the grown-up world of professional microphones. Its performance is just a grade below true studio quality equipment, which is an amazing feat for a plug-and-play USB microphone. Like all microphones, its quality can vary depending on the purpose of its usage, room acoustics, and settings. Nevertheless, when talking about sound quality, the MDrill One is right up there with some of its more famous competition, while it completely beats them when it comes to the design. While I don't see it being used in conference calls, if you plan on recording some music, doing some streaming or YouTube while sitting at your desk, this highly versatile offering from Thronmax is everything you could ever wish for at a great, affordable price.